evening, all you Facebook and YouTube listeners. Tonight we're going to have a very interesting show. We have three different women on the show, three different stories. One is positive, one is, I don't know how positive is. The other one might be negative. The one that I did not pre-interview might have the most interesting story. She's going to be with us a little later. She's getting her hair done and getting her stuff. Now, the reason I'm doing this relationship with Vinny Parco is I've been asked by many, many people to do this. I was doing the Politicals podcast with Law and Disorder, which is a topic I'm more suitable to because I've been in law enforcement and I'm a private investigator for many years. But this is a very interesting topic, and I enjoy it. And we got some interesting people tonight. Now, last time we had three good women on the show. They gave good stories. And I think we're going to enjoy it. Now, also, hit the like and subscribe button. We want to get more people watching the show. And comments. We love comments. We love to see the comments from people. And I'll try to answer them on the air, or we can answer them later. But if you want to watch this in entirety, you can watch it on Facebook Live later after the show, or you can watch it on YouTube. So I don't know. Who do you want to start with first? I don't know. How about Shonda? Shonda, I want to introduce Shonda Jones, a very lovely woman, an old friend of mine. And so, Shonda, tell us about your exciting career as a flight attendant.
What do you want to know about it? I'm sorry?
You meet a lot of people, don't you?
I do meet a lot of people. A lot of interesting people. What do you want to know about it?
Well, the guys, when you're in first class, do the first class guys hit on you more than the coach guys, or it works the other way around?
Well, it depends if I'm working in the front or in the back, but I definitely get hit on a lot.
Well, I can see why.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
How do you? Are there rules in your job of how you could, if you can date people that you meet on the?
Well, it's okay for you to meet people, hang out with people. You just, keep it strictly professional.
Professional.
At some points, but there's a few times that I have been hit on and approached inappropriately. One guy was in first class, and he was on an overnight in the same city where I was, and he was trying to, talk to me and slip me his little card and said, "Here, why don't you meet me at the hotel?" and stuff like that. I don't do, But if you want to go to dinner or have some drinks, I'm open to that,
How many drinks?
It all depends. All depends, Vinny.
I'm just wondering, that's all. What is the limit on the, no, I'm kidding. So, do you have any, well, sounds like a bad story. That sounds like not a pleasant one. But didn't you tell me about, you met one guy that you became good friends with for?
Oh, yeah, yes. As a matter of fact, I did. I met a guy, he was in first class, and we had a 2-hour flight. So he and I, we talked, we laughed, we joked. And I was actually having a layover in his city, and he said, "Well, what are you doing tonight? Would you like to go to dinner?" And I said, "Absolutely." He was a nice guy. And we went to dinner, we had some drinks, and we are still friends today. And it's been over a year.
Nice.
Every time I'm in his city, I'll call him up. He takes me to dinner. We have a good time, So it works out. It's good.
Good.
As far as my love life, that's hard because it's hard to have a relationship because I'm always gone.
Yeah.
I was dating a guy and he just didn't trust me. He was just like I'm telling you, I meet a lot of people on the plane, and he's thinking that this is what's going on all the time. So that didn't work.
Well, you have when you're on a flight, isn't there a few hours where you really don't do anything? I mean, you just like sit down, relax.
Yeah.
So that's the time when they hit on you, right?
I'm sorry.
That's the time that they hit on you when you're not running around. So they got you. You got your attention.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, I'm studying you in case I take a flight soon, and I want to pick up a beautiful airline flight attendant. I'm sorry. I want to know the nuances.
You're so crazy.
Hey, listen, I'm blunt. So, yeah. So, when you go on a flight, do you see? All right. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
So you're on a flight, and you're working, you're doing your whatever. Because sometimes you're really busy. You don't have time to breathe. I know that.
Busy, but okay.
So you see a really hot guy. You see a guy and say, "Wow, this guy is hot."
Get me in trouble.
What do you do? Like, do you flirt with him? Do you like walk by?
Yeah, I give him extra nuts, or hey, I throw him a little something. No, I'm just kidding.
Extra snacks.
I come up down the aisle, give him the eye, like how you doing, stuff like smile. I'm just doing my job.
All right.
I catch a few eyes here and there.
But are all the other flight attendants have the same attitude you have? I mean, they all have the same.
Not all of them, unfortunately, but
why not?
I don't
know.
I
guess different strokes for different folks.
I don't know. Just not friendly. I'm having a hard time hearing you, sweetie. For some reason.
Do you have any problems with passengers now with the mask, if they don't want to wear the mask?
Oh, I definitely have problems with customers not wanting to wear the mask. And we can write them up, or we can put them on a no-fly list, which that's happened a few times. And I don't like treating adults like children, but sometimes you have to. They don't want to listen, and I've got a family to come home to. I don't want to get sick. So this is exactly what I say to them. And then you get some that, want to talk back and things like that. And, I keep it professional, and I know how to be stern when I have to. So you can either fly now or don't fly at all. How about that?
Now, somebody I know just flew to Florida, and nobody had a mask on. They didn't care about the mask.
Really? What?
Yeah.
That wasn't my air. Well, I don't want to mention
not your flight, but
yeah. So the flight attendants allowed them not to have it on.
Nobody had masks. Matter of fact, nobody had even clothes on. I'm only kidding.
Were you flying Spirit Airlines?
No, seriously.
Sorry.
They had no mask.
Spirit.
They had clothes on. Okay.
Oh gosh. So I'm not sure. I know definitely we are really strict on our policy, and we definitely we get them.
I see on YouTube some of the flight attendants have problems with especially with women passengers, not men, with women passengers. They're very bitchy.
Who's very bitchy? The men or the women?
The women. I've seen some problems on YouTube where
flight attendants are bitchy, or the passengers?
No, the female passengers are bitchy, and the women try to do their job, and I commend you on it. I mean,
thank
deal
you.
with all kinds of people.
Yeah, I do, and I handle them pretty well. I've had some trouble where I had to go actually get the captain, because I had a guy walk up on me like he was going to do something. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now, sir, you better take your seat. You got the wrong flight attendant. So I went and got the captain, and he removed that passenger. Like that passenger.
Do the male flight attendants do anything? Do they help you out?
I'm sorry.
The male flight attendants.
Do they help me out? That they weren't on that flight. I don't really fly with too many men for some reason.
No.
They're out there, but I just haven't flown with a lot of them. So
let's put Viva on. You're going to stay on too. You're not going away. Let's get Viva. Viva! What is it? That is a lively name. Viva.
Yeah. Hey, Vinny. Hi, Chandra.
Hey, Vinny. I mean, Viva.
That's my alter ego sometimes. How's it going?
So, Viva, tell us. I pre-interviewed everybody except your girlfriend. She's going to come on, right? Your Maya, your girlfriend Maya, Shonda.
Melina, she hasn't answered. I'm so sorry.
I thought you said she's getting her hair done.
Her hair done, and I told her if she's done before 8 to.
All right. Well,
again,
it was good enough. Okay, Viva, tell us your tale of woe. Tell us what. Well, you got a nice smile on your face, so you're not really. Oh, I see your cat's in the background over there.
That's why I'm laughing.
Oh, boy.
You might knock over that vase. I'm not.
You're a fashion photographer, and I know you go Hawaii, you go all over the place. Who watches your cats?
That depends. Sometimes Chance or a very good friend, someone, Karen, someone from Hawaii, you know.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, it's always taken care of.
So you were telling me about an incident you had where you were being stalked by an ex-boyfriend. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. So Mike Mascano says, "Hi, Viva."
Hey,
You see it on the screen?
yes, I do. Oh, that's so cool.
Good, good. So tell us about it. Tell us what happened.
Well, it's happening. It's happening. Stalking. Oh my God. Cyber stalking.
I hear about cyber stalking all the time, but tell us what it is. What is cyber stalking?
So cyber stalking is kind of like cyberbullying. Cyberbullying happens really more to kids and kids in school. And I always thought that could never happen to me. Just block them or ignore it or whatever. But it's really not that simple. For adults, it's more cyber stalking, which is actually a federal crime if it's over state lines, and it depends on the severity of it. But it's just threatening someone, investigating them, just constantly harassing them. And so that's what happened to me over the course of a year, and with repeated demands to stop, cease and desist, stop, please, block every single number. And they just he just kept coming back and wouldn't stop. So that's, I mean, there's another serious incident that happened that really forced me to get a restraining order. And it's not a joke, a restraining order is very serious. That's, it's happening now. So it's, it's a hard thing to talk about. It's scary because you're like, you don't know if the person is really going to act on the threats and things like that, especially if you know them.
So you're actually scared. You're scared about that you might do something.
Sure, because I'm not dealing with someone that I knew. I'm dealing with a different personality altogether. So it's I thought that's the confusing part, because you don't really take them too seriously, and the threats are like, oh, they're just upset. But when it keeps happening every day and the content is alarming, disturbing, and affects a lot of people's lives, and then the cyber stalking also goes into libel and defamation on the internet, and they start spreading lies and rumors about you with a fake profile, and then it's just on and on and on, and then they start infiltrating your circle and your friends and your family, and hiding behind fake identities and pretending to be, investigators like you, pretending to be an investigator.
Did your stalker actually come to your home, your house?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's.
So this is somebody. I'm sorry. This is somebody that you didn't know, or
no?
I
do. So it's like right now, I mean, court's coming up. It's a serious matter, and but I really just want to help other people, men and women, to take all threats serious and save them, save all the threats, ask them to stop. And then when it gets too serious and you think when somebody dies, that's when it gets really, really serious. And I wish I had reported it sooner. It's a long story, and maybe, I'll come back after and talk about the details of the situation. But you have to take threats very serious, because if they can think it, say it, they can do it. So it's dangerous, and there's also a hate crime involved. There's so many. It's such a convoluted, confusing story. It's like a rabbit hole, really, that I'm involved in. But it's complicated, and it's a hard decision to make, because you care about
Well, the problem you have with stalking is that you have to change your life around the stalker. You have to to do things to avoid him or her, whatever the case may be. You have to do things that you don't normally do, like your normal life. You go to the store, You have to go to the store and look over your shoulder.
Right. Wow. I mean, if you take the threat serious, really, you don't want, because it's not just the person, it could be someone else, that they recruit to hurt you or to harass you. And that was the threat. I was sent threats that other people, were going to get us. And it wasn't just myself that was being cyber stalked and harassed and texted and voicemails and phone calls. And, it was another person, which is another long story that we can get into.
Did he do anything to any of your friends or relatives? Did he do anything to annoy them also?
Yeah, harass them, threaten to beat up other people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. But he's a punk. People that threaten are usually punks. Because people are going to beat you up, they're going to beat you up. They're not going to tell you.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's true.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm looking at these threats and these pictures, and I'm like, that'll never happen. Oh, he's just upset. Oh, don't worry about it. And I really wish I took it seriously. I really wish I filed for a restraining order when it first happened, but I was not in the state of New York City or in the state of New York. I wasn't in the city. I was in another state. I was in Hawaii, and I thought, oh my God, I have to fly back, file a restraining order against someone in another state, and that's the only way it would get done. And then I did my research, and I can't believe I didn't know that you can file a restraining order in any of the 50 states, and it's nationwide, so it's honored and recognized in each state.
Didn't you have trouble having the cop serve him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it has to be served. You have to be served personally on him.
Right.
And you had problems with that, right? I mean, I had one of my guys try to help you with that.
That's right.
Unbelievable. Now, as a detective, I've had cases where for stalking. And what we've done is we've actually stalked the client at arm's length distance. So what we would do is follow the client to see if we could catch the stalker. And we've been very successful with that.
Right.
And then what we did,
mm-hmm.
the stalker didn't do anything physical or didn't do anything illegal. We just confronted them and say, listen, we're watching you, watching her. And if you keep doing it, we're going to have you locked up. Or worse, you might have an accident.
Uh-oh.
Right. You might slip on the ice.
Really, you want to avoid violence. I was just trying to, avoid the threats, calm down, just leave me. Basically, the bottom line is leave me alone and leave everyone alone. Let it go. Get over it. And because it's going to get worse, because it's such an inconvenience. It's not as simple as, just get a restraining order. There's court. Cops have been here 3 times. They come whenever they want to check up on me, a nice wellness check.
That's a good thing. That's good that they're doing that.
May I say something? I'm glad that you're actually taking this serious, because I have a relative that was actually killed by her boyfriend.
Right.
And she used to tell the police. They never did anything about it because she would take him back. Oh. And each and every time she would take him back, they stopped coming around. You know what I mean? Because they're like, well, obviously you keep bringing them back.
Yeah, they don't want to be bothered. If you're bringing back the stalker or the boyfriend that's abusive, right, then you're part of the problem too.
Right. And so
and another thing I've noticed, that women that are in abusive relationships have other abusive relationships. We had a woman in Long Island, a very, very lovely woman. She had a stalker harassing her, beat her up a couple of times, had him arrested. Got him. We caught. Well, we didn't catch him. We got him in a situation where he got arrested. She went out with the cop that arrested him. You're not going to believe this. He started abusing her.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is that women that have these abuse, they like it. I hate to say that.
I want to know.
They like.
They did not like that.
How they like it.
When she finally did break it off, because she was scared of him. You know what? She was afraid of him, and that's why she kept bringing him back. But when she finally said, no more, I'm not doing this anymore, that's when he broke into the house that night. He broke in while she was sleeping and killed her while she was asleep.
Wow, I'm sorry.
He got arrested. He's in jail, I hope.
Well, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that
That's
women
I'm
that have,
glad that you're taking this serious and you keep pursuing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You never know. If he keeps doing that, then something's wrong with this guy. Something is definitely wrong with him. And
did she have an order of protection against him? Did she have an order of protection against him?
Did she have an order of protection against him? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. She finally found that.
Violated it as well. She
Yeah.
kind of reached the
And
term.
she didn't care, obviously. So.
Yeah. Well, women do that all the time.
And when I started my business in 1980, I had a lot of cases in Long Island. In Long Island, a lot of women had abusive husbands, whatever. Some women are abusive too, but abusive. And what happened was the police were not taking it seriously,
Right.
and a lot of the women were killed.
Right.
So then they changed it where you have one argument with your husband, order of protection. They don't fool around after anymore. And I think it was a good thing for the women because some women just can't defend themselves, you know?
Yeah, I too was in an abusive relationship back in the day, and I kept going back, and until I got tired. I just couldn't do it anymore. You know, I had children that I had to think about, and I had to walk away from it. You know, I lost a lot behind that, but that's why, you know, now they didn't take it serious back then. Like you can call the police back then, and you know, if I didn't press charges, they wouldn't press charges. But now they're pressing. The state's picking it up. If you don't do it, they're picking it up. So.
Well, we've had case. Listen to this. It works. The pendulum swings both ways. I've had cases in New Jersey where the man had a fight with his wife. You know, an argument. Has an argument. If she calls up the police and says, "My husband yelled at me," the police come. They tell the husband, "Pack a bag. You're leaving." What do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? You're leaving. You don't leave, we'll pepper spray you and we'll handcuff you. Now, I've seen this happen many, many times. We had I won't mention names, a famous person was fooling around with my client's wife. He found out about it. He said something to her and she says, call the police. Next thing you know, she froze his accounts, threw him out of the house, big expensive home. And he had to live in a motel for a while. It was terrible. But we found out who the guy was and we kind of smoothed it over. But this is an interesting story. One of my clients came home one day. He had a simple argument with, you know, I don't want to go, you know, a little stupid discussion. She calls the police. He comes home. He sees 6 officers in his living room.
Wow.
What is a man going to say? He said, what's going on? Boom. They cuffed him. They threw him on the floor. They threw him in the cop car. They threw him in jail. Okay.
Wow.
He didn't understand. He said, I don't understand. He was a very nice guy, good husband and everything. He says, how did this happen this way? So what happened was he hired us to investigate the situation. I sent one of my female detectives, and I think you knew her, Therese. Remember Therese?
I remember Therese, yes.
Yeah. Therese followed the wife one night, caught her with the cop that arrested him. They were having an affair. And in order to cover the affair up, they had him locked up and get thrown out of the house.
Scandalous.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Now, when they go to trial, Therese testifies, and the cop on the stand didn't want to perjure himself. He told the truth. He said, yeah, I'm having an affair with her, and we locked him up. He lost his job. My guy got divorced and didn't have to give an alimony. And the guy became a hedge fund manager, owned his own hedge fund. So she really screwed herself. Karma is a bitch.
Yes, it is.
And he married one. That's a good story. Now he's happily married. His new wife, I'm sure she's very happy. They live very, very comfortable.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
A lot of there's some good stories here. There's some good stories.
Oh yeah.
But when would you think that a man's wife would be fooling around with the cop that arrested him?
Oh.
It was all a scam. It was a scam to cover their illicit affair. I like that, illicit affair.
Sounds like like a movie.
But you've never been stalked, Shonda. You never had that. You had some bad boyfriends.
I've never had that, but
Good. Well, Viva, this is your first and only, I hope. You never had this before, did you?
It's not the first time, but this is the worst time.
All right.
This is the most serious. This is serious, very serious. Because
how long were you with this guy that's stalking you now?
Oh God, I don't want to go into the details. I really don't. Sorry about that, Shonda. Yeah, long enough. But the stalking has been a year, and I wasn't even in the state. And now that I am,
girl, what you putting on that man?
You're gonna have to ask
what you doing to him.
Now, I hope that some of the people that are watching don't say, "Oh, I don't want to have a relationship now." You know, this is supposed to be about relationships.
It's common. It's common. It is. But what isn't common is the escalated threats, the dangerous threats, and then, it's, oh God, it's a long story. It's a very tragic story, and I'll come back and talk about it another time. But it resulted in a death, and it's that's why I had to go to the police. So a suicide, frankly, and it's this. Such an inconvenience, such a waste of life, you know. If someone tells you to leave them alone, just leave them alone, period. And
one of the things we talk about on the show is women going out with men that they don't know about. And my daughter is a private investigator. Matter of fact, Anthony, why don't you put her logo up? Okay. And what she does is she investigates these guys that go out with these women before the problem starts.
Right.
So if you meet somebody that you really don't know them, you just met them once or twice. It's kind of scary that you got to investigate somebody. But if you want to have a relationship with somebody, maybe it's a good idea. And I have to say, about 50% of the cases that my daughter handles are bad guys. She winds up telling the girl, "Listen, get rid of this guy. He's married. He lied to you. He's not married. He's not married. He says he's got a particular job. He's not. He says he lives here. He lives somewhere else." I mean, people lie. People lie about a lot of things. They lie about their age. They lie about their job. They lie about their relationship. Right. Many cases that we've had over the years, and my daughter handles them.
They lie that they haven't had children. That happens. They lie and don't tell you they have kids. They lie and don't tell you they have a criminal past. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, I do know this guy, and know him.
How long did you know him before you dated him?
God, it was
not long.
No, long enough.
Oh, yeah. But you didn't know he was a jerk off? You didn't know he was an idiot?
The thing that happened here was he became very jealous and couldn't handle rejection. So something went off in the head, I think. So I'm just not dealing with the same person. It's very uncharacteristic what he's doing and has done. And I don't even know who that person is, you know, and I think that he just kind of lost it. So, and, you know, people, when they don't take the medication, I guess, you know, or they got
meds. Wow.
Like a change of medication or, you know.
Oh yeah, you need to be careful with that.
Well, that's the other thing. You know, when you start seeing somebody, you know, I think that bipolar medication and mental illness and those kind of things, people don't want to tell you that they are not well or on meds because it's kind of a red flag, and then again, if you don't want to discriminate or not, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to find out. Now, when I found out, I was pretty upset. And I was like, wow, I had a right to know. But it didn't affect anything until the stalking. So.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did you try to break things off and that's when he started stalking or?
Right.
Okay, got it.
So people just snap. And basically, it was just the stalking is abuse because you don't want a text popping up, an email. You don't want your friends being harassed. You don't want, your name, all over the place and lies and threats, and it just gets out of hand. It's not a joke. It's not funny when someone is continuously harassing you when you want to be left alone. And so you have to get.
You look over your shoulders everywhere you walk. I mean, it's crazy.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You don't know when threats are going to come through.
Ed Gianni says we could do a background on him so he could date you. We're going to do a background on him so he can pass. Now, Gail Padula says, hi, Vinny, it's scary. And it's scary. Some people are, especially if you go online. I got to tell you, online, I hear more stories about people going online, meeting monsters, meeting people that are, and it goes both ways. Not only men, it's a lot of women too. Women lie. They put their pictures on the internet that was 20 years ago. They don't look like that anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've seen. I went on Plenty of Fish once. Okay, many years ago.
Oh boy.
I was a widower. Listen, I was a widower, and I was lonely. So I went on there, and never again. I mean, Plenty of Fish was more like Plenty of Whales. Their pictures were 10 years younger.
It's not nice.
And they gained a little weight, Plenty of Fish. They were really.
Yeah, that site is crazy.
Dangerous.
So I like to meet women in my everyday life. I meet women in my job. I meet women dance. I like to dance. I meet women a lot of different ways. But the internet, I don't know. I don't know. I met one woman once, very attractive, very nice looking woman. I met her on Plenty of Fish. She was a court officer. Ironically, I was testifying on a case in Staten Island, and she was a court officer in there. I didn't know that, good looking woman. Then I was casting for a reality show, one of the reality shows that we had. And who comes to the casting? Her.
Maybe
so
I
should start going out.
know it.
I didn't know it. Three
Maybe
times
I talked to you. You didn't even know that.
Yeah, but there's a problem. Match.com says that 84% of their men and women would not date anybody from Staten Island.
Why is that?
Guess where she was from? Staten Island.
Funny.
Staten Island is. I know a lot of good people in Staten Island, but Staten Island has a reputation of being a little out there. It's the forgotten borough, they call it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Someone else asked me, what's the difference?
Have you ever dated anybody from Staten Island, Viva?
Huh?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Did you ever date anybody from Staten Island?
No.
How about you?
My girlfriend Dee asked me.
No, I have not.
She said, she called me up and she's like, what's the difference between Staten Island and Long Island? And I'm like,
very good. What is the difference? In my opinion, the people in Staten Island are much more normal. They're normal. People in Staten Island.
What do you consider normal?
Well, nowadays, what is normal nowadays?
Right, that's what I'm saying. What do you
I don't know. I've had some interesting experiences in Staten Island with the people there. And like I said, I know some really good people there, but I met a few people that are, not that good. They're not smart. Matter of fact, when you go over the Verrazano Bridge to Staten Island, you lose about a million memory cells. Okay?
Oh my God.
Matter of fact, I was doing a stand-up comedy once, and I had 10 people in the audience from Staten Island. I had to tell every joke 10 times.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, Vinny.
We like people in New York, especially Manhattan, love to make fun of Staten Island. Matter of fact, we get off the top a little bit. In the show Law and Order, which is one of my favorite shows, Chris North got in trouble, and they transferred him to a precinct in Staten Island. And it was the whole gist of the show was that he was punished by going to Staten Island. And he tried to, and he cleared a murder case and got back to New York City. So that's so like when they want to punish somebody in the police department. And yet 80% of the people in the police department live in Staten Island. This is not a show about Staten Island. We could talk hours about Staten Island. No. We're not gonna do that.
We did a pilot on Staten Island, remember?
Oh, we did one. Yeah, we did. She was in my pilot one. We did a pilot for Staten Island, and it didn't go that far, did it? No.
Yeah. No. The show was good.
No, the show was good. I don't know.
Yeah.
We did a lot of pilots. And you know a lot of pilots because you fly with them.
That's right. I know. They're interesting. That's for sure.
Well, listen, we're having fun.
They warn you.
We're not being negative.
Oh
we're not being negative. We're not politicizing anything. One of the reasons I gotta say this. One of the reasons I stopped doing the Law and Disorder was because it was too political.
Right.
But I've been called by many, many people saying go back to that because there's a lot of issues. We have a lot of issues in the government now that people want to discuss. So here's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to have a conservative and a liberal on the show and let them talk. I'm a neutral. I'm going to be the moderator.
Okay.
I like that. This way nobody can say anything bad about me. Well, no, listen, I'll say what I have to say. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of being thrown off Twitter and thrown off Google and thrown off whatever these days. I don't care about that.
You aren't afraid of anything.
Facebook once because I used a term that they didn't like, but it was okay. It wasn't a curse. It was just an individual name that I used, which I didn't know that they didn't want it. And now I'll make sure I don't say that again. So Viva, what suggestion do you have for, all right, there's women, I can see the women are watching the show. Give some suggestion to some of the women that are watching the show. What to do and not to do. And you too. You wait.
Right. Well, red flags, pay attention to the red flags. Jealousy is not sexy, and ego. Ego is not your amigo. Okay. Men.
Ego
like that.
Yeah, no, it was kind of it was a bad situation with two men and big egos, and that was the problem, and I was like, what's with the ego? This is going to get everyone in trouble, and it did. And just ego is it's very immature. So guys that are machismo, very or insecure, really. So you have to watch out for those signs. But this situation, it's kind of different and it's unfolding, and it's not a classic case. It's really it's different. It's very different how this happened. It's kind of like you just like snapped and just lost it. and I just felt really bad, and I still do, and I just want it to be over. I just want to be left alone. Life is, I mean, really, it's such a waste of life, being, wrapped up in court and looking over your shoulder, and you can't change your phone number. You don't want to change your life. You don't want to move. People are telling me to move, or leave the state or whatever. Why should I?
Why should you? Right.
Yeah, why should I? Just stop. Leave me alone. Period.
Right.
That's it. When someone tells you leave them alone, leave them alone.
Right.
Otherwise, cops are gonna knock on your door.
That's right.
Now, I could see if someone's trying to stalk Shonda and they got to follow her on when she's flying, it's going to cost them a fortune of buying tickets for her. I mean, frequent flyers for sure.
Did I just see you on my flight yesterday? Where?
Someday I'm going to be on your flight and you're not going to know it. I'm going to wear a disguise. I'll have a wig on.
I will know it's you, Vinny.
Well, I have to tell you, I've never had, not that I fly so much, but at one time I was flying a lot. Never had a bad experience on the plane. Never. Most of the airlines, the people are very nice. If you mind your own business and you just listen to the rules, you'll be okay.
Yeah, right.
The people who get in trouble are the ones that do stupid things.
You haven't flown since COVID, right? You haven't. Yeah. You have.
I have.
Oh, okay.
I have a friend. She's a comedian. She was on a flight from Alaska back to LA, and there was I don't know what she did, but there was a guy next to her, and she coughed or something, and the guy, she said something to the guy, and the guy got into an argument with her. He called the flight attendant, and then she got an argument, and she sneezed at him. Well, he said she spit at him.
Oh, wow.
They arrested her for that.
Yes, because that's
considered an assault.
That's an assault.
She
Yeah.
said, I actually sneezed. I said, no, you don't sneeze in someone's face. That's not right.
No.
I mean, a sneeze is a sneeze.
He was trying to pick her up.
That's crazy.
That's a bad relationship right there. I tell you right now.
Again, you were on Spirit.
I'm sure it wasn't your airline. I'm sure it was. She actually got locked up. Her husband's an attorney, by the way. Had to bail her out. I haven't heard from her since then. Crazy. People get in trouble for stupid things.
It's true.
Now, Viva, in your case, besides being stalked by this guy, he also threatened to sue you, if I recall, for money that he never gave you.
Threatened to sue me? No, threatened to hurt me, and continues to harass me over money, and that's another legal thing going on. But when someone threatens you and starts, I don't know, it's kind of like extortion, really. But report it, and that's what I did. And we're going to get to the bottom of it at the, in court at the hearing. But it's disgusting. It's disgusting. The whole thing.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? You're going to learn from your experience. You're not going to get involved with another guy that's going to. But you don't know. You meet somebody you don't know.
Well, I was going to say, how do you know they're crazy?
Sometimes it's good to know. Maybe meet somebody that you've known, or your friends know the person, and they say, "Oh, he's a nice guy. He's a good guy," like that.
But he could be a good guy around his friends, but a totally different person in a relationship.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. That people can change.
Right.
I'm sure you've had that problem, right? People change on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, by the way, you were married at one time, right?
Me or Viva?
You. Were you married?
I've never been married.
You're divorced.
No,
What?
I've never been married.
Oh, okay. How about you, Vivi? You were married?
She's too busy flying around.
Right. I can't land one.
Well, you can't land the plane, you can't land the husband. Okay.
He's out there somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So Viva, you never married.
No.
So I was married once. My wife died, unfortunately.
Right?
I miss her a lot. And I try to find somebody to take a place, but I need 3 people to take a place.
Oh, Lord.
I need one to cook.
That is not nice, Vinny.
I'm only kidding. No, she was a nice person, really good person. And you know, she got sick and she died. You know, so you know, I was at a function where a big law firm, invites me to their function, and I met one of the partners, a female. And I was talking to her, and I kidding around with her. I said, "Well, you know, I'm a widower, and you know, it's hard to meet." She goes, "Don't pull that stuff on me."
She thought there was a pickup line.
She goes, "Come on, don't use that line. Come on, you don't need that. You don't need that." So,
True.
so what happened to your girlfriend that was supposed to be on tonight?
I guess she's still in the salon.
And she had an interesting story.
She did.
Tell us about it, since she's not here.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just visiting with her, and she's in a really, really bad relationship. They're not married. They've been together for maybe 8 years, living
8
together.
years.
Yes, they've been together 8 years. They have a daughter, and he's just verbally abusive. He calls her all kinds of names. He puts her down. He's been drinking a lot lately, and you know, smoking the marijuana. And I went to go visit her. I said, you know, we're gonna have a girl, so I flew to see her. And he didn't want to watch the daughter because he knew we were just. He said, "What are you gonna go out pouring around? You're gonna do what are you gonna, you know, this and that?" And she's a nice girl, but he's just controlling. You know, she's in a very controlling relationship. So she said, "Well, I'm gonna take my daughter to my sister's house." And all of a sudden, he comes flying down the stairs. He's yanking the daughter. He's like, she's not going anywhere with you. You're whore, and all kinds of names, and right in front of me. Like, and he goes, "Shonda, I'm sorry for saying this in front of you, but she's not going anywhere tonight." And I was like, you know, I was getting ready to leave to go to my hotel room. So she ended up leaving anyways, but it got so bad that he was in her face, like he was about to hit her, about leaving out the door, and she was like, just wait for me outside. I'm coming. But this is a really bad relationship. And he's accusing her of sleeping with someone else because she doesn't want to sleep with him anymore. She doesn't want to be with him anymore.
Right.
And so it's just getting really bad for her. And
doesn't he work like an hour and a half away from her, and he stays over at his quote unquote sister's house?
Oh, that's another story.
Another story.
A friend that was going to come in on the show tonight, the one that I went to go visit in Florida. But We're talking about she's going to be mad at me, but someone else. Yes, that's another story.
Do you have anybody has a good story?
She's been engaged for 5 years. Who's engaged for 5 years? Who does
5
that?
years.
No.
Engaged for 5 years because he works only an hour and a half away, and he only works part-time. So he's gone 5 days out of the week with a part-time job, and he only comes home to her 2 nights out of the week.
Where do they live?
In Virginia. Like he works in one part of Virginia, and she works, and they actually have a house in another part of Virginia.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Only an hour and a half away. I'm asking.
He's definitely fooling around. He's definitely fooling around.
Yeah, I told her. She was like, "Well, he's at his sister's house." I was like, you better check that out because that doesn't sound right." And it's like I said, it's only an hour and a half away. How come you can't commute an hour and a half? Everybody else does it. Why he can't do it?
Right.
So.
Well, you know, I was gonna have a guy I want to have a man on the show, and there's a guy in my gym. I see him almost every day. Very nice guy, and he was telling me the other day that he had his 51st wedding anniversary. 51st, 51 years to the same woman, and I
Nice.
I commended him on it. And I asked him, I said, what is the secret of your good marriage? You know what he told me? She's my best friend. I think that was very sweet. That was very nice.
The truth.
My best friend. And that's why we stayed together so many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my advice to the women out there is marry a guy who's your best friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to be friends, and it's good to be friends first.
Well, you know, a lot of people that I've met, you know, that have been happily married, they use that expression. Said, "She's my best friend," and it's good. You could that means they could talk to each other. Sometimes marriages don't work out because people don't talk to each other.
No communication.
They don't know what, you know, and sometimes they don't talk to each other because they're afraid to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe the husband's afraid to tell his wife that he has sexual fantasies, and he's afraid to tell her because she might think he's weird or something. He might think, well, like this actor who's Army Hammer has a fantasy, he wants to be a cannibal or something. You know, that's something you don't tell your wife. He's got some weird. I mean, but you know, you could tell your wife, you know, maybe tomorrow night you dress up in a little outfit, go to a lingerie store, buy something new, buy something different. Some guys like their wives to be dressed up like little girls. I mean, that's a little sick fantasy, but
Yeah, that
he's
is.
an adult, so it's not a little like a schoolgirl. That's a schoolgirl thing. They like to have the schoolgirl, you know, fantasy.
I still
Or they
prefer.
want to have they want their wife to be a nurse, so I want you to dress up as a nurse, which is kind of clean. That's a pretty clean fun. So, you know, it depends on, you know, whatever. Now, when I was married, my wife had a closet full of lingerie because every week I bought different lingerie.
Nice.
And I think it was pretty good. We had a pretty good marriage, pretty good. We had our fights and everything like that, but that was, and she enjoyed it. Now, I've had other married couples, and I asked them, you know, what keeps your marriage together? They both like sports. They both like baseball. They go to baseball games together. They even play catch. They do. If that is something that you both like, that's a good way to keep a relationship good.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You know,
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, like Viva, you're a photographer, so you'd like to meet a guy that has maybe he's not a photographer, but he likes photography, and
Yeah.
you go take pictures
Well,
together.
that's same interests, yeah. But
Yeah.
don't that you work with, don't. I don't
Now,
think that's
Charlie, now you might want to meet a guy who likes to spend money, and you like to spend money too. That would be a great relationship.
Vinny,
You both spend-
I do like to shop.
Do you remember the movie Goodfellas when Lorraine Bracco tells her husband, "I need some money," and he goes, "How much?" and she goes like this, and he. That was a good marriage until they got involved in drugs and all this other stuff, and he was cheating on her anyway. But I noticed that keeps a good marriage sound, but he's got to be making money. Now, what happens if he doesn't make the same amount of money? The relationship goes down. But seriously, if they both like the same thing, it works. It works pretty good.
Yeah, you have to have things in common. You can't just be attraction at all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, you know, and sometimes if you don't talk and you don't know what the other person likes,
Mhm.
you know,
I think,
like, for example, when you met this guy and you started going out with him, you should have asked him, "What's your hobby?" "Oh, my hobby is stalking." I don't. That's a hobby. I don't.
Right. Everything is great until we break up. And then a different person comes out.
Yeah, a different. Yeah, well, you know.
See, that's the thing. You know the person, but then if there's a breakup, you're dealing with someone else. You know, it's rejection. So
Yeah.
because it wasn't. That's why I say it wasn't a classic case because it wasn't abusive during the relationship. It's after when someone else came into the picture, when there was competition. That's when the problem started. See, so That's when.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that just checked in, Nick Rotundo, the balloon-o-matic maniac. He makes anything out of balloon. He says communication is key. He's very happily married.
That's true.
But he's been married 7 times, but he's been happily married 7. No, I'm like, he's only married once.
Wow. I was going to say.
Anybody married 7 times has a problem. Mickey Rooney. He was an actor, married. Who was Liz Taylor? Was married 6 times.
Right.
Sometimes they just get married to get married. They don't.
Right.
You know,
I don't like to be alone. You know.
Yeah. They say hard time shows a person's true personality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you share hard times together and you go through it together, then you're gonna have a good relationship. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if there are any women out there that want to go out with me because I'm rich, forget about it. If you want me for me, but seriously, I like this format, this relationship format. But this is the last show because we're gonna go law and disorder. There's a lot of crime being committed. It's a topic that I know much better than this, and I like this topic. But
You do.
I've had a lot of people contact me and say, "Ben, you got to get back to that. They enjoy that more." But this was a good departure from the political and the because law and disorder tends to be political, right, Chanda? You watched the show.
I watched it. Yeah.
You didn't like it.
I liked it.
Yeah, but you know, so on the new format, I'm going to relaunch next week. I'm going to have different people on, and I'm going to let them argue. I'm just going to sit back and say, "All right."
Well, God forbid I have to come on that show.
Well, listen. If you want to talk about some law, you could talk about the stalking is disorder. That's disorder.
Yeah.
Now, I used to love the show Law and Order.
Because
That was one of my favorite shows. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that the law and disorder was a good play on the words, and it seems to work. It seems to work.
Good.
Yes.
And I get more people. I get more sponsors this way. Not too many people want to sponsor a relationship show. I mean, you know, I was thinking of getting a lingerie company to be a sponsor. I don't know. Well, you know, on Facebook, you can get your own demographic. I don't know if you noticed, but if you remember, when you got on Facebook, you put your age, everything about you. They know everything about you.
Sure.
So if you want to buy ads, you tell them, I want females between the ages of 35 and 45.
Okay.
Nick Rotundo, this is funny. Jaza Gabor was in and out of more rings than Muhammad Ali.
What is it?
Ring. She was in ring. He's a boxing ring.
Okay.
Nick, I gotta get him on the show. He is a riot. He's a riot. When I used to live in the Greenwich Village, he used to train the bus drivers. He was a bus driver for 20-some years. He used to train them. And he would pass when I lived in the West Village, he would pass my block. He would stop the bus. I would get on, and he'd drop me off at the gym. The gym was in the West Village, also on 7th Avenue. He'd pick me up on 8th Avenue, go down and come around and drop me off. It was like a limo service, only as a bus. All right, it's 8:00. I want to tell you, I want to thank you. I love this. I love this. Maybe we'll come back one day to this format again. I'm having fun. We have a saying on now. You've been to Arthur Avenue. You had lunch with me there, right, Viva? We filmed one of my books, The Confessions of a Private Eye.
I shot the cover
in my church that I grew up in.
Oh, nice.
So we were going into a confessional with a trench coat, and she did a wonderful job. But my agent said he didn't like it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he said it looked too old. But I wanted it to be old. But in any event, on Arthur Avenue, and Chanda, when you're in New York, I'm going to take you to the best Italian restaurant on Arthur Avenue. We have a saying, sempre noi, means always with us. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Bye, Viva.